Hey folks, it's Adria, and tonight in San Francisco it's raining pretty hard. I was just at the Microsoft Node event downtown, and while we were there, it was like we saw lightning outside the windows because we were on the 7th floor, and then we heard all this thunder. So by the time the event ended at about 9, it was raining really hard, and I lost my umbrella a couple weeks ago, but I am very proud that I owned that umbrella for nearly a year here in San Francisco before I lost it. Anyway, I hopped on the BART, and then I was like, what am I gonna do from the BART home? Because I have like 3 blocks to walk, and it's raining pretty hard. And I thought maybe I would take off my shoes, because my shoes, you know, they're not really my rain boots. And so I'm walking, and then I'm jogging, and I get around the corner, I'm heading down Valencia, and I see this woman walking, and I see her walk up to her car, and then she puts like her stuff in the passenger side, and I thought, oh, maybe someone's giving her a ride. Then she goes around to the driver's side, and at this moment, I make a decision, and I decide to ask her. I said, hey, are you by any chance going straight down Valencia? Because I'm just a couple blocks down the street. Would you mind giving me a ride? Right? And she looks and she's like, sure, I will. Now, while many of you may make judgments about this choice I made, obviously I'm making this video, so I did not get abducted. I'm fine. But thinking about making this video and that choice I made reminds me of, you know, what entrepreneurs have to do. They have to take risks. Now, of course, there are different types of risks that you can take, but you know, it actually reminds me of a story from my childhood that I want to share with all of you. So I was about 7 years old, and I was going to go to the park. And this is when we lived in Minneapolis, and we lived near Minnehaha Creek. And so it was along a creek, and I was like, I'm going to go out and play. And that day my mom's like, oh, you should take a jacket. And I'm like, I don't need a jacket. Because, you know, I don't know, I don't even know what day it was. In fact, I think it was like a school day, so let's just say it was like 4 o'clock or something, I don't know. So I'm like, I'm gonna go play. And I went to the park to play, and one of the things, which maybe this is a good thing, maybe it's not a good thing, but since it's like Minnehaha Creek, you know, they sort of have a playground and a tennis court, but then that repeats again, like after a couple of, you know, I don't want to call it blocks because it's a creek, you know, kind of you walk along and then things start repeating themselves for each of the neighborhoods. So I'm 7. I mean, I can read, but navigation, still not a strong point then. So then it's getting dark, and I'm like, I'm not sure where I live. And I didn't know how to get back. So I was walking, and if you guys live in Minneapolis, you know, like, there's that part along Minnehaha, like, you know, if you were driving to the airport on 55, yeah, that's not really near the creek. Okay, so I remember seeing, like, the Purina mill, probably where they make cat and dog food, and I knew I was lost, and it was cold now. It must have been, like, 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I was thinking, like, well, I mean, I don't know where my house is. I have no idea, and so I had to make an executive decision, right? You know, I don't know. I had to make a decision. I didn't have any money on me because I'm 7, right? So I'm like, how can I get home? I know my phone number, and I think I knew my address. So what I did, you know, and I think this, you know, I had to make a decision. I decided I had to go up to a house and tell them I was lost. So I looked at all the houses that were nearby, and probably just like a trick-or-treater, I had to pick a house that looked like there were people there who were nice. Here's my cat. She's coming down. Hi, Turtle. Turtle, you can come down here. She's happy and sad to see me at the same time. Well, Turtle, come here. That's how I was. I was crying and forlorn. Actually, I may have cried, but then I cleaned up my tears because, you know, you can't just go up to a house crying. So I go up to this house and I knock on the door. And if you know me, I usually don't make small talk before I usually just get to the point. So I'm like, hi, I'm lost. Can you help me get home? And it was this older couple, you know, like probably in their 60s. And they invited me in, and you know, I knew my phone number, so I gave them my phone number, and they called my mom. and they said they would take me home. And I was like, oh, okay, great, thank you. Well, one of the things they told me was, unfortunately, their grandson had gone missing a couple years before. And I mean, I'm 7, so I'm not sure I was processing like why he disappeared, but he disappeared. So looking back, I realized like they were probably happy to help me get home because they felt like they were paying it forward. Helping another kid who got lost, And if you're from Minnesota, you know definitely about like Jacob Wetterling, who he was just never found. So we've definitely had some abduction stories in Minnesota. I mean, again, I'm 7, so I don't know this stuff. But anyway, so I got home safe, and that was probably like one of the first times I made like a really big, risky decision where I had to go up to someone who I didn't know and say, can you help me? And it was hard. And it's continued to be a hard thing for me throughout my life. I've got better at it. But yeah, so tonight I was like, you know what? I could continue jogging for a couple more blocks in this rain, or I could ask this woman, who seems pretty cool, if she could just give me a ride. And it turns out, so she's like, are you just getting off work? And I said, well, I'm just getting out of this Microsoft event dealing with Node, and Microsoft is very into Node. They ported it, And then she's like, oh, well, cool. I just got out of this class. I'm taking a web design class. And so right now we're doing Photoshop. And I said, oh, and then you're going to learn HTML and CSS. She's like, yeah, I believe so. But this is just like the fundamental. So we connected. It was nice. And then she's like, well, if you were a guy, I wouldn't have said yes. And I'm like, oh, I totally hear you. But it was nice. We connected. I got home safe. And so the takeaway for you is take risks, take calculated risks, because most likely you will be rewarded. So with that, take care, and I'll talk to you guys all later. Bye.